yesterday, the Giannis biography came out by Mirin Fader, and I pre-ordered it, so it arrived. I have not been this excited to read a book in quite some time. So much so, I have this queue that I'm trying to get through, and I just knocked out like 4 in 2 weeks just for this moment to just clear space so I could fully immerse myself in this book. And so over the last day, I've read 100 pages, 4 chapters. I'm now on chapter 5, which is titled America. This is like one of the most inspiring books I've read. Like I've been following his journey since 2013. When he first got drafted, I know where I was when I learned about it, and my brother and I have been following him. We've done 6 or 7 podcast episodes on the Bucks and Giannis, and I've just like have been there this whole time, and he's like a little brother to me. And to see him succeed the way he is, I mean, he's progressing at such a high level and such an accelerated rate that the title is now outdated. The Improbable Rise of an NBA MVP. He's the Finals MVP, you know? So when this is published, it's already out of date. It's really inspiring because I know the general story about Giannis because I've watched different interviews and features, but like this is why books are so great, is because they can provide more information, especially if you're really curious about a subject, right? And it's even more incredible than I originally thought. Like, it is so inspiring, and I'm so grateful. A few quick things. I'm curious why they chose this photo for the cover, because it's not in Milwaukee Bucks gear. So I thought that was curious. I saw the Greek cover, and it's updated. He's holding up the NBA Finals trophy. He's wearing the Bucks jersey. One thing we knew when we watched Game 6 was that when the Bucks wear those black jerseys, they don't lose. So that was cool. The colors, I'm curious about the blue. I'm just curious about the like kind of lightish blue. I like just Giannis, the Improbable Rise of an NBA MVP. Very simple. I like that. I like the light blue. I think that's kind of a nod to Greece. So I've been reading it without the cover, the book cover. So looks good. It's not a very typical color, the light blue, and I think definitely it's a homage to the country of Greece. Where to begin? So his parents moved from Nigeria because the authoritarian regimes there, they thought it was getting too dangerous. So they come to Greece. And Greece, during this time, became like kind of the immigrants. That's the first place immigrants go to spread out in Europe, is they start in Greece and then they kind of move on. And so Giannis was born in Greece. I didn't know this. He has an older brother who stayed in Nigeria to look after his grandparents. And his dad, Charles, and his mom, Veronica, had Giannis here, and he's got 3 other brothers that lived with him in Greece. And his dad was a professional soccer player, but he had a career-ending injury. So him and his mom are just like trying to find work, doing whatever. And you know, his mom was a secretary actually in Greece, and she just worked so hard. She's like, something that sticks out is how strong of a woman she is. And like, there's one point she's in the hospital. Giannis hid in the bathroom. No visitors were allowed. but he hid in the bathroom until everybody left, and then came out and like slept on the chair just to make sure he was with her. It's like they're in extreme poverty, and they're moving around all the time. So they don't have any possessions. They're starving. Like Charles, their dad, would not eat. Many times they would not eat. Like they're struggling to put food on the table. But they have each other, and that's what matters. If you have each other, you don't need anything. So they're selling trinkets in different like Greek suburbs, and they're going to the beach, and sometimes when they're driving, they'll pull up to the beach and just play in the water to let the struggle kind of go and let the mind be at ease. And it's unreal. It's like, it's so incredible. They're struggling, and they all want to play soccer. And then they started Giannis didn't get into like basketball until he was like 12 or 13. Didn't really like it at first, but then he realized he could get really good at it, and it could be kind of a way out for the family. And so Giannis was always like the serious one, and was kind of like the leader of the brothers, even though he looked up to his older brother, and everybody looked up to each other and looked after each other. It's how exactly you want like a family to grow up, like so much love and not caring about anything except like the loyalty to your family, and it's just working hard. The work ethic is just so ingrained in them. It is pretty wild. So as he's getting older, he's playing basketball. He's so raw. No one knows what to really do with him, but he's always working. He's staying extra time in the gym. There's this one point he misses the bus. The bus starts leaving without him because he's still in the gym practicing. So it's like he's just practicing, and he's just getting better and better and better. A lot of the chapters about his like Greek identity and him being African, like African descent in Greece. And he is Greek. Like he grew up his entire life in Greece, but yet not being welcomed in a way like many other immigrants because they don't look a certain way. And that struggle and the harassment that comes with it, and the threats and the dangers. And this is also during a time in Greece where the financial crisis is happening, and there's so much rampant unemployment. So it's not just immigrants that are having a hard time finding work. It's the country of Greece itself is just struggling. So people are looking for scapegoats, and they're looking at immigrants. And to get through all of this, he's like always starving, but he tries to hide it, and he always makes sure that his brothers are taken care of. And there'll be like really kind people that will go out of their way to make sure that he eats. There's a story of a cafe, this family that owns a cafe, and he asked them for a job. And he realized, the store owner, that to get to that level where Giannis or his family members are asking for something, they have tried all their options then. But he said no, because if Giannis works at his cafe, he's not going to be playing basketball. He's going to quit basketball. And that's his way out. And so as he's playing for these teams and he's getting better, he can't play in higher levels higher level basketball, because he doesn't have a Greek passport. He has no papers. In the United States, if you're born in the United States, you're a citizen. So it's like a birthright. But it's not that way in Greece. So he can't even travel. He has to have a passport to play on the team. So he's in these lower leagues. And so when he's getting scouted, people don't know. People are like, why is he playing in these lower leagues against this low-level competition, it's because he didn't have any papers. But throughout this entire time, it's just like all these amazing quotes about his work ethic, how determined he was. It's so inspiring, where I'm like, I need to get through this book so I can go work even harder and harder and harder, just like Giannis. And throughout the last few years, Giannis has been an inspiration to me, and he's my favorite athlete. This is an incredible book to like really dive into Giannis's story. It's such a treat. It's incredible. And so while he's so appreciative, so humble, so kind, so determined, I'm sorry, I'm saying like the same things over and over, but he's just so amazing and such a great example. It's shocking how little the NBA is promoting this story. Like, it's insane that we're not sharing this story with like everybody. He is the American dream. It's real. It's a real thing. And you see what he's gone through to get here. And it seems very fashionable today to be so down on America and capitalism and, you know, whatever. But around the world, people still want to come to America. And like, as someone who knows many immigrants and people coming from immigrant families and people that work in immigration, you should hear the stories. It is, to me, it's so inspiring. Like, to my friend, it's so stressful because of all the paperwork. But there's such a bureaucratic mess. It's like someone is coming from Africa, they go to South America and go through Central America to get to the United States. Like, if someone wants to come that much, I mean, you want people like that. Like, on your team, on your side, you want people like that. And I know there's this there are conversations going on about American entitlement and work ethic. And I even find myself gravitating towards people from more non-traditional backgrounds because they understand the work ethic nature. And to me, it's like, we're very privileged to be in America or being born in America. The reason we have such a strong military that we do is to keep us free, so that you're able to go and pursue whatever you desire to pursue. Why wouldn't you work as hard as you can, you know? And a story like this needs to be shared more and more with other people, because you can do it. It takes a lot of hard work. It does take a lot of hard work. And for me, I think it's a really interesting juxtaposition between the the American superstars and then him. I think there's like kind of like this foreign, I don't know, like kind of against him as just like a foreign player, where like he's in the Midwest, and the Midwest, the two values that are most prevalent is kindness and hard work ethic. But that's not very marketable, right? The NBA and sports media companies, they want drama. They want individuality. But that's not what Giannis is. He's about the collective. He's about each other. He's about doing things as a team and doing things, building it step by step by step. And it's just really interesting to me, right? And you see this, Americans, I'm generalizing, more and more want like the easier path. So you see these superstars just like splitting and joining together to win a title, and they can't even win the title. It's Giannis who's winning the title, right? And over the long term, I think what like LeBron's legacy is that he left because Cleveland wasn't doing enough to get talent around him, right? So he's now saying GMs, organizations, they need to be accountable for their own, for the success of the organization. You can't just expect a player to just be drafted there and stay there the entire time when you're being incompetent, right? So now all of a sudden, these front offices, these GMs, they got to do a better job, right? And I think that'll be like the most important thing about LeBron's legacy. The hopping and skipping around to other teams dilutes a person's success and legacy. You think people in Golden State are going to care about like Kevin Durant, like long term? No. Like even LeBron, like being in Chicago, the way people talk about Michael Jordan, that just like doesn't happen in today's society or today's sports entertainment. It's more about the individual and going off on your own and doing your thing. But there's something to be said about doing it like as a family and building it from the ground up like the Bucks have. And when you read to the point about scouting and all these NBA scouts are coming, but he's such a risk because no one really knows. Like he's playing against lower competition. He's so lanky. He's not that strong. He's definitely a project. But his intangibles of just his work ethic, his love, his hustle, just being an all-round great high character person. It's man, he's just so humble. And in order for him to get drafted, he needed Greek passport. He needed papers. And so this entire time in his life, he has no papers, no identification. And there have a bunch of people that are trying to lobby to get these papers because he needs it to get drafted. And the Greek government was just so slow and it was so bureaucratic and filled with red tape. And it wasn't until the Greek government learned that Giannis and there are a few lawyers with him. It's wild, these stories. Like one of the lawyers was like a lawyer for like his family getting evicted all the time, and they're always asking for just like more time to pay the rents. And so one of the lawyers that they like years and years ago, like they still became friends because their family's such a great family. But then they were going down to the Nigerian government to try to get papers. And then the Greek government was like, whoa, wait a minute. Like, he's an asset if he plays in the NBA. He's Greek, and if he plays for the Greek national team, that's great for us. So it wasn't until they learned that they went to the Nigerian government to get this resolved, because they need it done, right? That they started doing it. And I would encourage anybody to read this book who wants to be inspired, who wants to really learn about a remarkable individual. I'm really excited too to read the rest of the book because it will take place in Milwaukee, and that's where like I kind of learned about Giannis from here on out, being a Bucks fan my entire life. And it's been honestly so incredible. Like everything. Like my brother and I were talking about this. I went to the championship parade in Milwaukee. That was really cool. And then afterwards, my brother and I were talking. I went with my cousin, but my brother and I were talking later that day, and like him and I have been like talking about this for 8 years. And everything that needed to happen happened. And the reason why it happened is because of Giannis. Everything, there's growth. What people don't account for, and they're still not thinking about this, is that Giannis is only 26, and he just gets better every single year because he has this intense work ethic and determination of all the players right now, he is on track to be the greatest of all time, of anybody. As far as if we're talking about competing for that title. And he plays for my team. And he represents like Midwest values, like family, being humble, and being a good person, and just working hard. He's such a treasure, and it's been so special to follow him all these years. And now I'll get to the Milwaukee parts in the book. That'll be exciting. Something I loved on his Instagram, he took the NBA Finals MVP trophy and the NBA Finals trophy to Greece with him, and so he just like celebrated all around. And he went up to the Acropolis with him, and he's taking photos there. It's just like so special and cool to see that. Because in the book, there's a story about him and a couple friends going up to the Acropolis, and they're these poor, starving kids. But to them, to go up there and they took this photo together, it's special, And to see him on his like social media being in Greece and celebrating there, he always felt like he's Greek, even though he wasn't always accepted as being Greek. And just coming full circle, and his story can open the doors for other people and other individuals that are struggling, and it's just so remarkable. And it's I'm excited to read the rest of this book.